zingine weka inside.
jasho ndo hiyo ndingo tanunua, otherwise piga kalesa na ikikumo neza jua twende. Last time kuna wenye na wabasha, last time tulikata kuperform na Ivasha, ndani ya 110 nina wapita kaza naska, ni kwanga wanted lakini sai wananitaka. Sinifania vile hit song imefanya msupata kekunizalia, swali kubwa najiuliza mimi shadia, siwezi sema tunihalia. Na spendi mapicha why bila filter, wama nina feature Dianuanga msisa, kila lego kila tiza. Na spendi mapicha
Greetings and salutations back to you, Andrew Robinson, all the way in Switzerland. And you're tuning into the Black Fire Radio. And you're listening to the African Diary Show with Cathy. That's it. You know I'm feeling like a G. Show them me she's free. Hakuna kitu ya free. Na kusa nina kani breathe. Lifestyle. You know they love me for the lifestyle. The Illuminati kumbe lifestyle. Wanna say money bangi kumbe lifestyle. Cappuccino in the big proper lifestyle. The big give me jack what the lifestyle. Men a club, men a club, men a club. Men a club, men a club, men a club.
Yes, a very good afternoon to everyone who is there with us. Karibuni sana to another episode of the African Diary Show. I'm hoping that you're doing great on this wonderful Monday afternoon. It is exactly 2 minutes at sorry, not 6 minutes to 3 p.m. right here in Nairobi. And you can as well let me know what is the time on your end as we're getting started with our conversation of the day. How have you been? How was your weekend? Keep it interactive with me. Karibuni sana once again. Shout out to Sophie Cruz. I see you in the building. Shout out to ZPM. I see you in the building. Salim, Deno, and to the rest of the silent listeners who are with us on the radio station. Karibuni sana once again. Remember, my name is Katie, and of course, this is the African Diary Show, and of course, this is the Black Hot Fire Network. And I hope you get to enjoy our conversation of the day. On today's episode, I want us to discuss about different things. And one of the things is about the killings that are going on in Eastern DRC. And we've had alarms, or we've had allegations of now this airstrike was funded by not Kigali, was funded by Rwanda and Uganda. But I've seen I've seen the Rwandan president talking about it, and he actually said that no, I'm not involved in this. But no matter what you say, I have to guard my reputation. And also, I've seen Uganda is denying claims that they also participated in that airstrike. But it is just crazy with what is happening with African people. We can't just be one and fight our enemies. We always focusing on fighting against ourselves. This is so sad. It is so crazy. And I've seen that now Codeco rebel has attacked and killed 15 people, and this was just yesterday. So we don't know the number of the dead people where it's at right now. But anyway, karibuni sana once again. That is some of the matters, or those are some of the matters we shall be talking about on today's episode. And later on, we shall be talking about Senegal. And remember, we've been talking about Senegal and what has been happening. Remember, President Macky Sall postponed their elections, and after the postponement, we had now people coming out and protesting. We have actually not had peace in Senegal for some time after now the postponement of the elections that was supposed to be held on February 25th. But Senegal's president says election will be as soon as possible after court overturns delay. So Senegal is still going to head to the polls after the court overturned the delay and said that no, this is not right and it is unconstitutional. So we're waiting to see if they come up with new election dates. Remember, they had already set new election dates for they say the elections will be held in December. Yes, late this year, December. I don't remember the date very well, but the elections were supposed to be held in December after postponement, where they were supposed to be held on February 25th. But we shall be getting to talk about that later in depth, as we get to see what is really happening with this country and how is it going so far. And later on, we shall be talking about also something, this is just crazy. Imagine, this is just crazy. Okay, this is what Christians call divine intervention. Sorry. Yes, this is what Christians call divine interventions. But imagine you guys fasting and praying over food prices. Nah, this is too much. Don't you feel like this is too much? Imagine you just wake up and say, okay, the food prices has gone high, or the food price has gone high. So what do we need to do? We need to sit down, fast, and pray. Now, you denying yourself that food that you're praying for. Does that even make sense? Okay, this is in Nigeria, where they call this divine interventions, as they fast over steep food prices. Does that even make sense? Because that doesn't make sense to me at all. Imagine these people, okay, they come together and say, let's pray, just because the food prices are high right now. But anyway, as we get to continue, remember, early this weekend, we had the AU Summit. This is the African Union, or the African puppets coming together and talking about different matters are happening in Africa. But I've had Joby talking about this, but I'll just highlight a little bit. They talked about now Israel and Israel attacking Gaza, and they condemned the act. Like, you know, this is ironically they condemned the act, but remember, no African country came personally or privately and said, you know, we don't love to see what is happening in Gaza. We didn't see our Kenyan president neither coming and standing up and saying we don't support whatever is happening in Gaza. We don't support whatever Israel is doing. But right now, they are together. No one can talk as one. No one can talk on behalf of their citizens. They are just coming together as AU leaders or as AU members saying that we condemn the act of Israel on Gaza. It doesn't make sense. And also, ironically, they would not come and say that, you know, we condemn the acts or we condemn the violence that is happening in Congo, in Ethiopia, in other parts of Sudan or Africa. Nobody, you will never hear them talking about that, but they are highly condemning about now Israel attacking Gaza. It is just crazy. But also I saw we had Niger, we had Mali, we had Burkina Faso saying we are not going to attend that goofy meeting or that goofy summit, and we shall be getting to see why they said we are not attending that summit, that stupid summit. They actually said that summit is okay, let me try. Okay, I will get the right word, but I shall be sharing a video of them saying that we are not attending that stupid that you have. But at the end of the day, this makes sense. It makes sense. You know, we only have 3 leaders in Africa. We have one in Burkina Faso, one in Niger, and one in Mali right now, you know, and we have only 3 democratic states in Africa. And this is what is really happening because, and I like this because they are coming against the African puppets right now and trying to show them, you know, we are not going to associate with you and whatever you do, because all you do is against African people. All you do is to make sure that these African people are suffering instead of making sure that they are not suffering. But anyway, all in all, that is what we shall be discussing on today's episode. I hope you feel free to get to interact with me and also get to talk to me about what you feel about the conversations of the day. Remember, we have our WhatsApp number 0705 428 388 0705 428 388. We started off our show with an amazing jam. That was a BN featuring Scam Cardinali. I hope you did get to jam and to it. The jam was a lifestyle. I hope you did get to enjoy it. But I'm hoping to go back to one more jam as we get to our show for today, and also as we come back with our quotes of the day. So in case you're there, you have a quote of the day you'd love to share with us right here, kindly feel free to share your quote of the day. Feel free also to motivate us today. Today is on a Monday. Let's be vibrant. And remember, we keep on saying that Monday is the day that you get to set the tone of the week. So in case you're there and you've started working, prepare yourself for a positive week. But anyway, this is Vin Oxen. The jam is Fura here. I hope you get to jam onto it.
Jitsi got the hits. Jitsi got the hits. Siku njema onekana asubuhi, sote twafurahia. Mungu mwema wetu juu mbinguni ameikusudia. Dada yetu kipenzi Waridi ameshabarikiwa, tumshukuru Mola kwa baraka aliyotupatia.
Grand rising to you too, General Mosquito. I am well. How are you doing? Shout out to Kelly Charles. I see you in the building. Karibu sana. Shout out to Pamet. I see you in the building. Karibu sana. I also see Mwangi Karaoke in the building. Karibu sana. General Mosquito. Karibu sana. My quote of the day is about self-discipline and the practice of doing. It's the practice of doing what you want to do when you don't want to do it. Self-discipline is the practice of doing what you want to do when you don't want to do it. That is self-discipline. Pushing yourself further when no one else is going to do it for you, towards making your dreams into reality. Yes, self-discipline is also pushing yourself further when no one else is going to do it for you, towards making your dreams into a reality. Yes, that is self-discipline. I hope you practice self-discipline, and also remember, you don't need to be pushed. You also have to push yourself to get to where you want to be at the end of the day.
Hadi siku ni harusi yako dada, nami dua njema na kuombea. Siku ni yako furahia. Siku ni yako furahia.
Karibuni sana once again. Welcome back to the African Diary Show. I see MC Claren Music is saying, si huwa mnaongea sema na huyo presenter mwingine wa morning. I'm actually the one. I'm the same person. What do you mean? Ni mimi huyo. MC Claren, I'm the one. Ni mimi nakuanga asubuhi tukiwa na Shmani. So in case you're confusing, I'm the one. I actually do the morning show together with Shmani, but Shmani comes earlier. She comes at 8 to 10, and then I join her from 10 to 12. So that's me, in case you're confusing. Atuongei the same, it's me. Imagine it's me. Ni mimi. But anyway, welcome back and karibuni sana to all those who are just joining us. And I see General Squito is saying, I'm doing good, I'm bubbling. What do you mean? But I see also you're saying, my quote of the day is, ears that doesn't listen to advice, companies ahead when it is chopped off. Oh, MC Claren anasema, I guess I meant money. We don't talk the same, like, no, we don't talk the same with Shmani. Iyo ni uongo, iyo nimekataa. But anyway, karibu sana. Thank you very much, MC Claren, and asante sana for joining me. So on today's episode, just like I promised you, we shall be discussing different matters. I highlighted them before you came in, so I shall head straight to the matters of the day. And I'll start with this story coming from Nigeria, where it's called divine. Apparently, a Christian would call this divine intervention. But guys, tell me how stupid this is. Imagine, okay, we're talking about inflation in our country. We're talking about prices of foods are going high. But instead of now knowing what's the problem, you just decide, let's pray. Okay, let's fast and pray. Remember, you're talking about food prices going high. So you're fasting, you're denying yourself that food that you're praying for, to the prices to go low. You know, sometimes I tend not to understand these people at all. But anyway, it's the brainwashing. But in Nigeria, there's a group of Nigerians fasting over steep food prices, and several Nigerians in the northeastern state of Bono are refraining from food after their governor called for divine intervention over the country's grave economic and security situations. On Friday, Governor Bagana Zulum urged residents to partake in one day statewide fast on Monday in response to the rising cost of food and the spate of the landmine explosions across its major roads. So how is fasting going to protect us? How is fasting going to lower the cost of food? Or how is fasting going to lower the prices? Because I still don't understand. But Bella Zabamari A resident of Bono State told the BBC that he and many others are fasting and praying to God to solve their problems. And I quote this: "We woke up with a fast today, and hopefully all our prayers will be answered soon." The governor did the right thing by calling on people to fast. That is what that man said. Omar Shehu, a resident who works with the state fire service department, said he and his colleagues are also fasting and instructed by the governor. Nigerians are going through one of the country's roughest economy periods in history. The prices of food and basic items have skyrocketed in recent months. So how is this going to help? How is this going to help? Okay, the craziest part is that we have people in the streets of Nigeria demonstrating and protesting about this, while we have others fasting and praying to God that the food prices will go high. You see the difference of these now different groups? Because we have a very huge difference between these two groups. We have a group of I don't want to call them names, but we have a group of people, African people, who thinks that their solutions or their problems can only be solved by prayers. Imagine praying, denying yourself, you're fasting, you're denying yourself food to pray for the cost of food to go low. Will even God listen to you? God won't listen to you. Because why are you being stupid? Eat fast and then pray if you have to. The same food you're praying for is the one that you're denying yourself. So what sense do you make there? Anyway, this is just crazy where they are calling this divine intervention, where now they are fasting, they are denying themselves food, and you'll find in some families they are even denying their young ones food for them to pray over the prices of food. This is just crazy. It is so crazy. But I'm talking about Nigeria, and in the same country, we have protests over the rising cost of living. So you can see the difference between some of these people or these Nigerians and other Nigerians. We have the ones doing the right thing, but we have the ones deciding to fast and pray, hoping that God will lower the prices of food. But we have others who decided we're taking it to the streets because the government has to listen to us. And if you ask me, who are the most civilized people? Those ones demonstrating about the cost of living. But, protesters are being held in Nigeria, in Nigerian city of protests are being held in the Nigerian cities of Oyo and Ibadan against the rising cost of living. The latest demonstrations in the south of the country follow similar ones held in northern Nigeria 2 weeks ago. Protesters are angry at a high rate of inflation, driven largely by high food prices and the government's decision to end a long-running fuel subsidy. And on Friday, the African Development Bank warned that Nigeria could see social unrest caused by the rising fuel and food prices. It is in its economic outlook for this year. The bank warned that other countries, including Kenya, Ethiopia, and Angola, could face similar problems. And this is just crazy where everything is rising. The food prices are going high, and it's just crazy. This is happening. I don't know why it is happening in African countries, but at the end of the day, praying won't solve anything. Praying, fasting, and praying won't solve anything, because that God you're talking to won't even listen to you on an empty stomach, while you're promising yourself that God will listen to you because you fasted and prayed. That won't even make any difference. But anyway, talk to me about that. Do you believe in divine intervention where you can fast and pray for something to, maybe for food prices to go low, and you just wake up they are low. Anyway, talk to me. Remember, our WhatsApp number is very active: 0705 428 388. 0705 428 388. And as we head on to other different matters, I talked about the African, the African summit, the AU, that was happening during the weekend, and we had so many African puppets attending that. But also we had Burkina Faso, we had Niger and Mali saying that we are not going to attend that summit. And you know, this shows the difference between real leaders and puppets, because tell me why this African Union is not even solving any problems we have in Africa. Tell me why we still have war. Nobody's talking about in Sudan. Nobody's talking about what is happening in Congo. Actually, the leaders or the members of the African Union are being accused of also funding whatever is happening in Congo. So it's just crazy. And this shows that now we have real leaders in Africa, of which there are very few, like 3 of them. And then we have the African puppets who are members of the AU. But anyway, I want us to listen to this video keenly. This is Ibrahim Traore talking about why he doesn't feel like he needs to attend the African Union Summit. And also, why do you think that these African leaders don't talk about what is happening in Africa, but yet they can talk about what is happening in Israel with Gaza? Because I saw they condemned the act, and you know, it is ironical to see this because nobody will be talking. You know, it is so ironical because this war the genocide has gone for how many months? How many months right now? It has gone for almost 6 months right now. But none of these African puppets have talked about it, right? Nobody. They never came out individually talking about it. The only person I had talking about the genocide that was happening in Israel was Ramaphosa. But right now they can come in because they are together and jointly say, we condemn what Israel is doing in Gaza. But they cannot talk about what is happening in Sudan. They cannot talk about what is happening in Congo. But anyway, I don't want to major on that. Joby talked about that. In case you missed, you can go back to her show. It is there. And it's called the Pan-African Bliss. You can just check it out. But anyway, as we get to continue, I want us to listen to this video so that you get to understand what I'm talking about now the real African leaders we have and the puppets we have in Africa. Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen on YouTube. Let me check. Okay, there it is.
Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali ignore Africa Union meeting to establish own union. Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali met in the Burkina Faso capital, Ouagadougou, ignoring the Africa Union meeting in Ethiopia to discuss the formation of their own confederation, the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. The meeting comes after the economic...
And this is so good because at the end of the day, they know very well that the African Union is not set to work for African people. And instead of joining the African Union, they just decide, you know what, we are forming our own alliance that will only focus on bettering Africa and our countries. And this is so right. You know, it is... we've normalized seeing a trend where even we have new leaders, young leaders who just come and just follow the trend of, this African Union. You cannot form another alliance while we have African Union. And when you get there, you become a puppet. So at the end of the day, I'm so glad to see this. And I'm so happy to see what is happening with Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. And this shows that these people are really working hard for their own people. They are working and truly devoted to working for their own people. So at the end of the day, I feel like people in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, these people are very lucky to have such people as their presidents.
Unity of West African States, ECOWAS. Founding states withdrew from the Union in late January after accusing the bloc of being under the influence of foreign powers, betraying its founding principles, has become a threat to its member states and its population. In their joint statement, the alliance also cited ECOWAS illegal, illegitimate, inhumane, and irresponsible sanctions as another reason for exiting the Union. ECOWAS had imposed several sanctions on the AES countries after their military coups. The military alliance was established in September 2023. The bloc's meeting aimed to discuss expanding the alliance's objectives in diplomacy and economic development.
As part of the continuation of negotiations, the operationalization of the Alliance of Sahel states, and this by the common vision of their excellencies, Captain Ibrahim Traore, President of the Transition, Head of State of Burkina Faso, the Colonel Assimi Goïta, President of the Transition, Head of State of the Republic of Mali, and Brigadier General Abdourahmane Chiani, President of the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland, Head of State of the Republic of Niger. The meeting of AES ministers was held in Ouagadougou on February 15, 2024.
Let us know in the comments below if you found this video informative.
Okay, that's the video, and this is just good. It's a good gesture that we have real leaders in Africa, and at the end of the day, they are not willing to join any puppets to do the dirty works with them. But anyway, what do you feel about that? Do you feel like now this is a very good movement this is a very good move for Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger forming their own alliance and working for African people? Or do you think they were just supposed to go and attend the African Union summit? I think they did something that was good, because at the end of the day, if you end up meeting with the puppets, you become one. So they don't want to become puppets, and we don't want them to be puppets. So at the end of the day, it is better for us to see them working for us. But anyway, do let me know what you think about this. Do you think that now this is something that was right for Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali to do? Or what do you think about that? But anyway, moving on to other different matters. This is about Senegal. Remember, we had President Macky Sall postponing the elections that was supposed to be held on 25th of February, actually this month. And later on, we saw an unrest in the country, in Senegal. We saw people protesting. We saw these were actually not even peaceful demonstrations. We had people clashing with the police. We had people dying in the demonstrations, and this was not something that was good to say. But also, we also seen the court ruling that this was illegal or unconstitutional for the president postponing the election date, and civilians were actually right to demonstrate about it. So right now, Senegal's president, or Senegalese president, has said that elections will be as soon as possible, and this comes after now the court saying that this was wrong, it was unconstitutional, and elections must be done. So Senegal is awaiting their elections still. We don't know the new dates for the elections, but we are waiting for the announcement of the new dates, because at the end of the day, if the court has said that this is unconstitutional and this is unlawful for you to do this, so we must be waiting for new dates. We must be having new dates. Remember, after the postponement of elections, we had 3 days of unrest in Senegal, and then the president came out with a new election date that was in December. Was it 17th or 15th? December 15th, I'm sorry. Yes, it was supposed to be in December 15th. But right now, I don't know the new election dates, but I'm waiting to see if they come up with new election dates, because they have to. The court has ruled this, or has ruled the postponement of elections unlawful and unconstitutional. But Senegal will hold a presidential election as soon as possible, given that the country's top election authority has overturned a decree by President Macky Sall postpone the vote, the government said on Friday. SAL in February sort of postponed the February 25th election, citing unresolved disputes over who could run, and the National Assembly voted to reschedule for December 15th. However, the country's Constitutional Council ruled on Thursday that those moves were unconstitutional and ordered the government to hold the election as soon as possible, presumably allowing enough time to campaign for campaigning. The panel acknowledged that Feb 25th would now be feasible, but the government should act quickly. In a statement on Friday, President spokesperson Yoro Dia said that SAL intends to ensure full compliance with the council's decision and hold the elections as soon as possible, though the government did not yet specify a new date. So we're still waiting on the new date because they have to release a new date and the elections has to be done, because right now Senegal is turning into a very, very bad place, and because we don't want this country to be torn, these elections has to be done or have to be done. But anyway, I see Jibajaba in the building. Karibu sana, and thank you very much for joining us. Senegal has been as one of the region's most stable democracies, but election disputes have plunged the country into a political crisis that has sparked deadly protests and cuts to mobile internet. At least 3 people have been killed, security forces and dozens injured. SAL has been accused of trying to delay leaving office, something he denied during an AP interview last week. Local and international pressure has mounted since the moves to delay the vote. In a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, on U.S. Bureau of African Affairs commended the council's decision to put Senegal's back on track for a timely presidential elections. Shout out to Deno and Karibu Sana. And the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres noted that the Constitutional Council ruling and the president's decision, and urged all Senegalese parties to ensure the holding of an inclusive and transparent presidential election within the framework of the Constitution of Senegal, and that is the UN spokesperson. And also on Friday, the West African Region Bloc, that is ECOWAS, said in a statement Friday that SAL should stick to the election timetable and requested for the competent authorities to set a date for the presidential election in accordance with the council's decision. So at the end of the day, we are still waiting for Senegal's election, and I'm hoping that peace will soon return to the country, because right now they know that yes, it has been ruled illegal and unconstitutional, and now we are going to the polls. So I wish, or I hope, that the people will come to rest and they will stop rioting and protesting. They will just wait for the new electoral dates or election dates. But at the end of the day, this is how it works. This is how the voice of the people works. Because this is it. If it is not it, what is this? Because remember, people started protesting after the president said that we are not going to have elections in 25th of February. And the court has actually had them, because they are the owner of this constitution. And it's not right for a president to come and think that he can make laws by himself. It's actually not right. But right now you've seen the power of the rule of the people, or power of the people. If you actually demonstrate on something and decide we are standing on this, it will actually work for you, because right here it's working for them. It has worked for them, and they are going to have an election. I don't know how close this will be, but at the end of the day, they are going to have an election before now December 25th, and this is something that is so good to see, because at the end of the day, we know that now peace will return to Senegal. But it's unclear when a date would be set and whether there would be changes to who is allowed to run. And Sall, who came to power in 2012, is set to finish his 2 terms on April 2nd, and according to the constitution, elections have to be held 30 to 45 days before his mandate ends. In an effort to calm the public, the government has released several hundred political prisoners and prisoners this week. The opposition has said the situation could be diffused by releasing all the prisoners and starting talks between the opposition and the president about setting an early date for elections, said Dr. Manel Fall, a member of the dissolved safe opposition party. So at the end of the day, we are just waiting to see what will happen to this country. But anyway, you can talk to me and tell me what you think about this. Do you think that the country will soon come into peace, or do you think that it's just another way of delaying the election and just telling people, be patient, Let's just wait and see. Shout out to DJ Said. Thank you very much and for tapping the screen, and karibu sana to our show for today. But anyway, moving on to other different matters. This is about what is happening in Congo. Hello to you too, and Sankenwan and Karibu Sana. Thank you very much for joining us. This is what is happening in Congo. And man, this is so sad. Every time you're waking up to M23 rebels killing people in Congo. Right now we have Codeco. This is so sad. And I saw Mr. Kagame. I saw Kagame talking about this, and he said, I will defend myself. I will defend my country no matter the accusations. And it doesn't actually make sense with what is happening. I've seen also Uganda is somehow it's alleged to have funded the Codeco rebel attack that left 15 people dead in Eastern Congo. And we actually don't know who to believe. We actually don't know who to trust. These are African people ganging on other African people, killing other African people. And this is so sad because they are doing this for minerals. Just like what we have in Sudan, we have the border violence between Sudan and South Sudan, and people are dying every day because of resources. If we can't have resources and be in peace, we actually don't need them. If they are going to keep us killing each other, what are they for? And this is why the Europeans will always find a way to take advantage of us, because we are always fighting for something that we can't even want to share among us because it's ours. And most of the time, you'll find the people fighting for this, they don't even know the value of the mineral or resources they have. In Abe in Sudan, in the border, it's actually near South Sudan and Sudan. You actually don't know where it is. It is a location around Sudan and South Sudan. But these people are always fighting about that place because it's rich in oil. But you ask yourself, okay, if you stop fighting, will you be able to mine this oil? You won't, because you're not even learned on how to mine this oil. And this is why people will always take advantage of you. But if you stopped fighting, you would find a way to get this oil out of the ground. But if you continue fighting, you won't be able to solve anything. You will actually kill people who are going to help. This is so sad, where we have people fighting over resources that are on their lands and killing each other every day, while we can just sit down and resolve the matter and divide the resources amongst ourselves. But anyway, what is happening in Sudan is that there is a Codeco. Remember Codeco? There was a time I told you about Codeco. Codeco is an abbreviation for Cooperative for Development of the Congo. It's a militia group, and it claims to defend the interests of Lendu ethnic group. And it's actually, we have so many groups right now in Africa that don't even make sense. They all about ethnicity. They are all about tribes, But armed rebels have killed 15 people in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo's troubled Ituri province. Local sources said on Sunday in the second such attack in days. And the sources said that Codeco, a militia, again targeted people from the rival Hema tribe. And Codeco fighters ambushed users of a road near the village of Tali, where they stopped 15 people, including one woman, on Saturday afternoon, said Jules Tuba, a civil society leader in Jugu, a town in the area. The militiamen tied them up and dressed them before killing them, while some victims had their throats cut. Damn. Others were shot dead. Damn. Imagine. Hey, this is just sad. Imagine you're walking on the road, somebody attacks you and arrests you. They cut you. They cut your throats. And some of us are even shot dead. This is so sad. According to a humanitarian source, the bodies of the victims bear the marks of torture. Rafin Mapela, the territory's administrator, confirmed the toll of 15 dead and said attack came after months of peace. Codeco was among several Congolese armed groups that signed a peace deal last year after negotiations in Nairobi. The United Nations has said there are as many as 120 armed groups in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Efforts to reduce violence in DRC have seen the deployment of thousands of South African troops as part of Southern African Development Community mission to fight against armed rebel groups in the east. A gold-rich Ituri suffered as suffered conflict between ethnic-based militias from 1999 to 2003 that killed thousands before the intervention of a European force. Fighting flared again in 2017. Thousands of civilians and triggering masses displaced. Violence has been on the rise in the conflict-hit region in recent weeks, with many blaming attacks on the M23 rebel groups that has been fighting Congolese soldiers in the region for years. Kinshasa says M23, one of more than 120 armed groups in the region, is receiving military support from neighboring Rwanda. Experts from the United Nations and the European Union have said there is evidence backing this, but Rwanda denies the allegations. But M23 has indicated in recent statement that it is amid an onslaught in Eastern Congo, leading to fears the group is again targeting Goma, which it once seized 10 years ago. Suba said he wanted the government to accelerate the peace process through a program of disarmament and reintegration of militia fighters into their communities. On Tuesday, a suspected Codeco attack left 7 Panas dead on a mining site in Jugu territory. This is just crazy. It is so sad to be seeing this and to be talking about this, because at the end of the day, who is going to come to the rescue of these people? Right now, we have had an attack in an airport in Congo, a drone attack, which Congo accuses Rwanda to have conducted. And The Democratic Republic of Congo has accused Rwanda of carrying out a drone attack that damaged a civilian aircraft at the airport of in the strategic eastern city of Goma in the capital of North Kivu province. Fighting has flared in recent days around the town of Sake, 20 kilometers from Goma, between M23 rebels, which Kinshasa says they are backed by Kigali and Congolese government forces. So right now we are talking about drone attacks, and we have Congo suspecting or alleging that these attacks are being conducted by our neighboring country, Rwanda. And on the night of Friday, Saturday, 2:00 in the morning local time, there was a drone attack at the Rwandan army, said Lieutenant Colonel Gilame Jike Kaito, army spokesperson for North Kivu province. It had obviously come from Rwanda territory, violating the territorial integrity of the Democratic Republic of Congo, he added in a video broadcast by the governorate. This is just crazy. It is so sad. But I'm seeing also the US has something to talk about this. So the US is strongly condemning violence in DR Congo after alleged drone attack. And the alleged drone attack is this one that now we have Congo alleging that Rwanda did it. And at the end of the day, I've seen a video of Mr. Kagame. I think I'll be able to share the video tomorrow, of Kagame saying that we had nothing to do with this, but you guys keep on putting, like, claiming that we are involved in this, we are funding violence in Congo. But at the end of the day, we know the truth, man. Why can't you stop it? These are innocent lives you're claiming. These are innocent people you're killing, and this is not good. Isijaro Scooter is saying, Jerry, have you got your 2 fans yet? No, not yet. Can't you see the way I'm sweating? But anyway, Siji Bajaba is saying, even when rebels stop acts of revenge, will keep the struggle going while the Mzungu keeps getting wealthy. Imagine, and this is so sad, because imagine now if your neighboring country is capable of destabilizing you. Actually, they are being funded by the Mzungu to fund war in your country. What is this? Can't it just stop? It's so sad. We have border violence. We have people killing each other. Until when are we going to see people dying in Congo? Because they have been dying every day. We've been like, there's no other day we will go without reporting people dying in Congo, people getting displaced in Congo. There's no day, no single day like this we will talk about. We will now just move with the news updates without talking about Congo. So sad. So sad. Yet, we have the African Union going on talking about what was happening or what has been happening with Israel and Gaza, and nobody has the audacity to talk about what is happening in Africa. Nobody is talking about the allegations of Rwanda funding conflict in Congo. Yet, we know very well that is their work. If they were set to act for Africans, that was their work, and they should be doing it. They should be resolving conflicts. Some time back, we had the ceasefire, and we had talks that were held in Nairobi for stopping violence in Congo. Did they go anywhere? Did it even help? It didn't. So at the end of the day, this is so sad, talking about people dying every day. And this is in the same country. And the saddest part is that this is a wealthy country, but all we see or all we talk about is violence. All we talk about is people dying. All we talk about is destabilization and displacement of people. It is so sad. This is so sad, and people need to talk about this. We need to talk about it. Just like the way we have had people demonstrating about what is happening in other countries, what is happening in Gaza, let's talk about Congo. Yes, you see what you are talking about, free Palestine? Let's make that about Congo, free Congo. Man, these people deserve to live a peaceful life. Imagine waking up every day. You are on the run, you are on the move, but there's nothing wrong you did. You just happen to find yourself in Congo, and your country is just being attacked just because it's wealthy. The world that you don't even benefit from. This is so sad. But I see Jiba Jaba is saying, correct. You cover Congo more than NBC, CBS, and ABC. Man, it's just crazy because there's a lot happening in Congo and we just want to report it to you. But until when are we going to talk about people dying? Can't we just talk about the good things coming from Congo, the cobalt, the copper, the resources we have in Congo? Of course we can, but we can't talk about it when people are on the move, people are running. There's actually nothing happening to those resources because the Mzungu is actually happy. There's violence and people are dying. He can take advantage of that and steal the resources. This is so sad. I get so upset by seeing this. But I see General Mosquito is saying the African Union wasn't set up to benefit Africans, but as a means of monitoring and controlling Africa. Yes, this is what I keep on telling people. The African Union is just as simple as a WhatsApp group. It's just a way, it's just as simple as a WhatsApp group. You would create a WhatsApp group where you would be sending orders. I want this and this done. I want this and this done. Ruto, do this. Tinubu do this. So it's just an easier way of monitoring African puppets. So it was not even just formed for it to work for us. But I also see John Mosquito is saying, I couldn't care less about Gaza, Africa, and Africans always come first. Very true. Very, very true. You would see even our parliamentarians walking with the flags or going with the flags to the parliament. But when there's violence in their continent, nobody is willing to talk about that. Why is so? Why is so? Because this is sad. They would even wear scarves to parliament and get banned because they wore a scarf. And you see the hypocrisy in our puppet leaders. Right now they are talking about they condemn the acts of what is happening in Gaza. Remember very well, there was a time right here in Kenya, there was a parliamentarian who rocked a scarf with the Palestinian flag to parliament. And he was actually banned from parliament. Why? Why do you think that he was banned from parliament? Because your country didn't care about what was happening with the Palestinians. But right now, because they are hypocrites, they can just come and tell you, we condemn whatever is happening in Palestine. They're just afraid of saying that we support this, but we're not going to say it. They're actually afraid of doing so. And with whatever is happening on the Red Sea and the attacks of the ships, they're just afraid. They are just as afraid as the Israel is afraid of the Houthi fighters. That is what I think. But shout out to Ansanken. One, I see Jiba Jaba is saying, they condemn the Gaza war, but will take loans from the hated people. Of course, they condemn the act, but they will still take loans from the people who conducted the genocide. So at the end of the day, it's just hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy, Jiba Jaba. There's nothing like that. They don't condemn. They are in support of whatever happened because those people who are conducting the genocides are their bosses. So why would I condemn my boss? Why? I have no reason to condemn whatever my boss feels like it's good. they wouldn't do that. So at the end of the day, that is just hypocrisy and just pretending to show that, we care about what is happening in the innocent lives. They don't care. They care less about that. They don't care even a single second. But anyway, my people, I think we shall wrap it up right here. Asanteni sana for being with us on today's episode. Asanteni sana for keeping it interactive. Thank you very much, Jiba Jaba, Ansanken Wanjano Mosquito. Kid, I saw you in the building, though you didn't talk. But asante sana. I also saw MC Claren in the building, and to the rest of the silent listeners, we had in the building Asanteni sana. I also see we had Dama in the building. Thank you very much, Dama. And to the rest of the silent listeners who are with us on the radio station, I hope you get to enjoy the rest part of your day. But remember to join us later on the next episode of the Rhythm Scoop Show. Thank you, Jiba Jaba. And enjoy the rest of your day as well. Koheri, see you later. Pesa kidonda chekitema kutoka wananitanga Maradona tumua kata nikisonga usipandishe mrembo bodaboda hiyo siku ya mwisho utamuona usilize kani ligonga niulize kile niliona ai akimwona sare drive na kupikana bila muda vidole mbili weka pisa hizo zingine weka inside. You know I pull up like a G. Show your mother she's afraid.